job, I wouldn't even be doing this. I'd be at some beautiful place with a gorgeous ocean, the
Look, they're all pointing.
the Atlantic.
Yeah, look.
And it's
There he
not
is.
easy because we have millions and millions of people in our country that shouldn't be here. Dangerous people, criminals. We have criminals. We have drug dealers. We have people that should not be here. Probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit over that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that says...
The assassination attempt on former president and current presidential candidate Donald Trump has left the entire nation shocked, in disbelief, and asking so many questions about how this happened.
Joining us with his insight is former Secret Service agent Christopher McClinic. Mr. McClinic, thanks for joining us, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I've had the great pleasure of traveling with presidents and presidential candidates as a correspondent. What I know from that experience is that Secret Service always does an advance trip to assess the security situation ahead of the candidate's arrival. And what I think many of us can't understand is how that rooftop that the sniper used less than 400 feet from the stage with a clear view of the stage wasn't either manned by an agent or a local law enforcement person. How is it possible that a gunman got to that rooftop and was able to fire his weapon before even being detected? I suspect you have the same question.
Your suspicions would be correct. As a retired agent, I can tell you I did advanced work like that on numerous occasions, so many occasions I can't count. And I was just speaking with several agents just yesterday about this advance in particular, and I was kind of sort of reminiscing on some that I've done in the past. And prior to President Trump getting there, there were what's known as walkthroughs, and that's where the site advance agent, the second supervisor, the other post-standing agents literally walk the steps that President Trump was to walk on the day of the event. I can't tell you how many times I've done that exact type of mission, and where myself and other agents have stood at that podium and had the opportunity to look out on where that crowd would have been and see that rooftop as well as other areas of concern. That said, I find it impossible to believe that a Secret Service agent, a supervisor, no one did not notice that site needed to, that area needed to be covered. So I know it's still preliminarily in the investigation. I don't want to say whether it was covered by an officer or an agent, or it should have been and that person wasn't there. But absolutely, it should have been covered and would have been covered in any other circumstance.
Let's just go to the US first, where I'm joined by political commentator and comedian Alex Stein. Alex, thank you for joining us. When you first heard the news, I assume you were quite probably watching the rally. What was your initial reaction?
Well, a lot of people are acting like they're surprised, but Tucker Carlson, has stated this multiple times, who is a friend of mine, a guy that I respect, that obviously this is the last option, is going to shoot Donald Trump. And let's be real, like when you look at this situation, this is a serious issue for the Secret Service. There's only one other roof across at the whole entire event that even had a, shootable lane to the president. And they had to wait till he shot him. So for me, I just think that this goes back to the DEI. Instead of hiring the best Secret Service you saw, it was a woman trying to carry Donald Trump off the stage, and he wanted to stand up and walk. So I'm not saying this is some sort of inside job. I'm just saying that this is a lack of professionalism by the Secret Service that doesn't care about actually protecting Donald Trump, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, well, we're going to get into that a little further later, because Evelyn Ray, who's joining us on the program, is a former copper, and we'll get her expert analysis on it. But you'd have to ask the question. I mean, that would have to be one of the biggest cock-ups by the Secret Service that we have ever seen.
And it really just doesn't make sense, because when you saw that once he got shot and they piled on top of him, later on Fox News edited this part out, but they even said, what do we do? Because, they practice these role-playing games, these strategies, but once it actually happens, they were in, a state of disbelief, in my opinion. And Donald Trump was the only one that actually looked strong out of all of those Secret Service. So for, like you guys said, this could help Trump win in a landslide. But at the same time, I think this opens the door to another attack. And I hope that that doesn't happen. But I'm just saying there's going to be copycat type people. They're going to see the type of momentum or the attention that this shooter's getting. And I don't even want to say his name. But I wouldn't be surprised if something doesn't happen at the RNC this week or something doesn't happen on the campaign trail, because they've already tried to throw him in jail. They've tried to discredit him every way possible. And the only true way to stop Donald Trump from becoming president of the United States is for somebody to kill him.